Hello and welcome, Mr. Lyons, back at it again with another banger. And what ordered pair will simultaneously make both of these equations true? What ordered pair? We know what that looks like. Always good to annotate that. Now look at this system of equations right here. We have two equations. Now what's different about this, John? That was different about these equations that we had down here. What's different about these equations compared to this one? What's different? What difference do you notice here? Yeah, I noticed that we don't quite have opposites quite yet, right? But I do notice that one of these variables might be a little bit easier, to eliminate, right? Which one do you think would be a little easier to eliminate? I think the y terms would be a little easier to eliminate because we have the same values here, except for the fact that I need opposites. Now, what is the opposite of negative 3y? The opposite of negative 3y would have to be positive 3y, but I can't just say, yeah, positive 3y. No. This is an equation. There's rules. There's a method to this. There's levels, as Meek Mill would say. There's levels to this. How can I turn this negative 3y into a positive 3y? I would have to multiply it by what? By negative 1. But I can't just multiply one term by negative 1. I'm going to have to multiply the entire equation by negative 1, right? It's an equation. Got to treat all the terms the same. I'm going to multiply everything by negative 1, right? Negative 1 times negative 6x times negative 3y times positive 24. You could have done it to the top equation too. The main thing is I want opposites. I'm going to want opposites. So now I'm going to rewrite my system on the side. Negative 8x minus 3y equals 30, right? What's going to come underneath? What's the new equation that I'm going to write underneath? Now that I'm multiplying the whole equation by negative 1, this is going to be actually positive 6x, see if you can finish the rest, plus 3y, that's what I wanted, equals negative 24. Now pause and say, why did I multiply the bottom equation by negative 1? What was the goal of that, right? The goal was to create opposites so I can eliminate variables. That's what we're doing today. We're eliminating variables, right? That's all we're doing today. And so now that I have an opposite, I can combine my opposites to get 0. Now that I have one variable, I'm ready to start solving, right? Negative 8x plus 6x is going to give me negative 2x equals 30 minus 24 is going to give me positive 6. Right? The goal is to eliminate a variable. So now I'm going to isolate my x here. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is going to be positive 1x equals positive divided by negative is negative. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now that I have my x, can I find my y? You best believe it. One of the things I like to do when I'm calculating, I like to alternate. So I just use this equation to change it. Now I'm going to use the top equation because I haven't touched that one at all. And I'm going to find y. That's my next step, right? Negative 8x minus 3y equals 30. This is just a guide right now. If you feel confident that you can do this on your own, go ahead and do it on your own. Go ahead and do it on your own, okay? Come back and check to see if you got it right with Mr. Lyons. Right, substituting there, positive 24 is what I'm going to get. Right? Now I'm going to isolate my y. I'm going to subtract 24 on both sides first. Negative 3y is going to give me positive 6. Negative 3y equals 6. You want to divide by negative 3. Divide by negative 3. To give you 1y equals positive divided by negative is negative 2. But I'm not done yet. I think that's my answer, right? We know we're looking for a coordinate point. I think that's my answer, but what do you have to do? Come on now. You already know the vibes. Check. Let's just check to see if it works. Now, like Mr. Lyons, we just use the top. Now I'm going to use the bottom. Should I use the one I changed? Should I use the one that... It don't matter. Because, believe it or not, these two things are equal to one another. Because you multiply by negative 1 on both sides, they're the same exact thing. But I like to use the original here. So I'm going to write my original. Right? You could use either one of these, right? You can use this one, you can use this one. They're the exact same thing. It doesn't matter, right? I like to use the originals. Negative 6 times negative 3. We're just substituting now. Negative 2. Peep the handwriting, yo, son. Negative 6 times negative 3 is going to be positive 18. Negative times negative positive 6. What is 18 plus 6? Booyakasha. Look at, bruh. Does this coordinate point satisfy my equation? Absolutely it do. Excuse me, does. Alright? All we did was check, right? Very simple stuff. Alright, so we needed to multiply by -1 in order to create opposites here. Sometimes you might need to multiply one of the equations by -1 to create an opposite, okay? Go ahead and do the vocabulary at the bottom, and after you fill out the vocabulary, on the next slide, the fill in the blank, see if you can do example 4 on your own. Alright, after you do the vocabulary, fill in the blanks. On the next near pause slide, alright, the answers are there, then you're going to write it in. And then try to see if you can do example 4 on your own without checking the key, alright? Check you later.